President of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, has cast doubt on the revival of Nigeria's state-owned refineries in Port Harcourt, Warri and Kaduna, describing them as economically unviable despite consuming over $18 billion. Dangote said efforts to revive the aging facilities amount to modernizing 40-year-old technology. He also said over 50% of output from his 650,000 barrels per day refinery is dedicated to petrol, far higher than the government refineries. Dangote's remarks echo earlier comments by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who said the NNPC could not manage the refineries. Industry groups are now urging the government to privatize the facilities or scrap them entirely and support modular refining instead. To discuss this, we're joined by a senior partner, Argentile Capital Partners, Femi Oladeyin. Femi, thank you so much for coming around on the news.
Hi, Aliko. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, it's nice to have you around too. Now, NNPC refineries, according to what we understand, may never function again, according to Aliko Dangote, after spending $18 billion to repair. Was there any time that you had the conviction that these refineries would work and would work for a long time?
Aliko, you guys have, you keep history of our chats, right, or our conversations. I want to believe that you would actually go and check one of the histories, and there's a place where I said that I would eat my shirt on national TV if those refineries worked, or to the extent that we thought they would. Look, the truth is that you can't leave refineries without turnaround maintenance, without the right level of spending in keeping them running for such a long time, and expect that you come in, spend a few million or $1 billion, and the refineries become optimized and optimal. It's very difficult. Refineries are such complex, complex facilities that you can't afford for them to go down for a long period of time and then expect that you're just going to go in there and restart it. Even for your car, you can't do that. Now imagine something as complex as a refinery. I wouldn't say that they would never work, but I would say that getting those refineries optimized, especially in the state they are in right now, will be extremely difficult and would require significant levels of investment and stop-starts. And honestly, that hasn't changed. My views are still exactly what they were when we spoke about this, and nothing has changed.
Well, just like Nigeria, the truths are always there in the open. Nigeria would ask questions, and you see these handlers of these projects, those in these spaces, still come out to insist that these things would work or it would happen, or they give these false assurances. What was it that NNPC was trying to cover? And when we have things like this occur all the time, what does it say about the Nigerian system?
So, Aliko, I think that what we've seen, in fairness, is effectively multiple failures by the NNPC to accomplish what they set out to accomplish. But I would also say that what you're seeing today is a more transparent management team than what we had in the prior administration or the prior management team that ran NNPC. The current managers of NNPC have promised transparency and honesty. And I believe to some extent that that's what we're seeing now, in the fact that we're getting information at least on the actual state of those refineries and what we should expect to get from them. I don't believe in any way that there is not the need to have increasingly more investment in the refineries before they can get to work. I also think that Dangote is flying this kite now, knowing that he's found himself in a position of strength, being the only one who's able to control volumes, and he's become very disruptive in the market. So I don't think that it was intentional from an NNPC, for example, to say, look, let's go and mislead the people. And I believe that of their own good intentions, they felt that the refineries were in a state where they could get them back to work. And I believe that they may have received technical, confirmation from the people who they brought in to do the turnaround maintenance, that it was in a state where it could work. But like I said at the beginning of this conversation, a refinery isn't something that you're going to play games with. It's either working or it's not. And what we've seen for the ones that the NNPC has spent billions of dollars trying to turn around is that they're not working.
Now, would it have been a better option?
And so you asked the question as to what does that mean for us as a people?
Okay.
The reality is that, look, these governments have never been honest with us as Nigerians. I don't think there's anything shocking in there. I would actually say probably the current government is the most transparent we've ever seen when it comes to the state of our finances. And there is still some level of opaqueness that we're still dealing with in there. So I would say that, look, the Nigerian system has birthed this kind of opportunities for people with other than honorable intentions to become leaders or to grow within the government space, and they are only in this for themselves rather than for the Nigerian people.
All right, so instead of expending $18 billion to refurbish moribund refineries, would it have been a better option as at then if the Nigerian government and NNPCL had looked at building a new refinery, one that can compete with the Dangote refinery?
Look, the truth is that the first question we need to ask is, does NNPC have any business actually owning refineries in today's world? If you look at the biggest oil producers in the world, very few of them are investing in refineries. Refineries are low-margin businesses that you need significant levels of efficiency to be able to unlock value from. And, the NNPC has not been able to do that. Let's go back to the fact that, 18 years ago, President Obasanjo, when he was leaving, had sold these refineries, and President Yar'Adua, having been misled by the then NNPC management team, recovered the refineries from Dangote, who they had sold it to. Perhaps if they had left the Port Harcourt refinery and probably the Warri refinery with Dangote, private sector investment would have turned it around. The truth is, right now, NNPC's focus should be in growing Nigerian reserves, increasing our production, so that we can actually meet or exceed our OPEC quotas, and just ensuring that we unlock the hydrocarbons that are in the ground. Leave the refinery or the refining of these products to the private sector, who seem more competent, who seem, better funded to continue to run these businesses. I do not believe that the NNPC should actually be spending any dollar on refining. What we should be doing today is selling those refineries as is, and hopeful that some private sector investors are able to put cash in it to be able to get them back working and competing with Dangote.
Okay, so I was going to ask that, but you already answered. So thank you so much, Femi Oladeyìn, for sharing your thoughts with us on the news.